We're off to meet Ben Banks now, who spends a lot of his spare time at a coastal wildlife reserve not far from Whakatāne Airport. The Okorero Thornton Lagoon and its surrounding sand dunes lie by the mouth of the Rangataiki River and are home to some threatened species and rare vegetation. But they have frequent visits from other wildlife too. You've got a bucket there, Ben. What's in it?
So this is my modified Purcell container. I've got some dehydrated rabbit meat, and a couple of tools so that we can go and have a look at this DOC 200 trap, and that got set a couple of weeks ago with some egg and some other dehydrated rabbit. So we'll just check to see if we've got any luck.
Smell anything?
No, it doesn't smell too bad, so that's normally an indication that we haven't caught anything. My name's Ben Banks. I live in Whakatāne and currently got a small business focusing on conservation and biosecurity. We are currently doing a bit of a small trapping program along the coast here, so we've got 125 traps going along the coast from Whakatāne to Maratā, just to try and protect some of the wildlife in the wildlife reserve. So yeah, been doing that for about a year now. Currently, I think we're at about 97 mustelids, about 87 rats. It's all in our first year of trapping. So we've got one of the traps set off with nothing in it, just some old fairy business. So I'm going to reset that and put some new rabbit bait in it and just record that on Trap NZ to show our progress. Alright, so we're going to close that up and then that'll be all done.
Just over the dunes from the lagoon lies a beautiful white sandy beach. People love coming here by the river mouth to catch whitebait and kahawai, to kayak and enjoy the views out to the outlying islands.
With our coastal lagoons, we're actually only got about 10% left in the country. The lagoon itself would be a major spawning area for whitebait coming in and out. I've managed to see white heron here, which was pretty spectacular in terms of bird numbers, and around the mouth of the Rangataiki and back towards here there's threatened plants as well as threatened birds. So it hits a whole lot of threatened species that need some kind of care and management, as well as the actual values within the lagoon itself for the fisheries.
It was while working on another coastal restoration project that Ben saw the need for traps. A no-brainer, he says.
So yeah, I kind of took it upon myself to set up a small group and rope in some family and friends to help set up the traps. So yeah, we've got 120 odd traps across the area and service them about once a month. So we've managed to catch I think close to 85 mustelids and equal number of rats across the area, and that's been hugely successful. So we started on March last year, and then probably putting out 20 traps, setting them up on the network each month, doing 20 a month, and roping mostly my kids come out with the dog just to identify areas where there was predominantly some sign or some smell, and then set them up on a 150 metre course along the coastal network, really.
And do you think the wildlife is thriving as a result? I mean, are you seeing any numbers increase or any change?
The mustelid numbers are starting to drop down, and we're seeing an increase in rats, so the apex numbers are kind of dropping off. We're seeing little skinks appear, and their size has gone from being quite small and getting bigger really quickly because there's no mustelids predating them. And then we're also seeing a lot of the copper butterflies and seeing and hearing a lot more birds as we're going. So it's only been a year, but very quickly you're actually hearing and seeing the effects of, I guess, what the mustelids are eating is bouncing back relatively quickly, which is really good.
So far, so good. But there's one other threat, which trapping is probably not going to fix. Here we go.
People having a bit of fun driving across the area at the same time. So I think this is conservation East Coast styles at its best. Sometimes we find a few cars ending up here that get burnt out at the end of the weekend, stolen cars, and then end up here, get burnt out, and then normally give Doc a ring and they're kind enough to come and pull them out. But it's becoming a bit of a nice place for people to come camping and four-wheel driving when they would like to.
Cars doing donuts is a common sight here. Even on a midweek winter's day, the area was busy with vehicles on the tracks, which go every which way in the reserve. While the visitors have fun, Ben points out the vegetation, some of it newly planted.
Recovering coastal vegetation with harakiki, coastal mahoe. There's actually some threatened kānuka next to us. And then as we look out towards back to the ocean, I guess there's probably been a history of highly modified areas where it's been grazed and burnt, so pretty low-lying grass areas with some wee and spinifex and pingao actually on the frontal dunes. So as we look down towards the lagoon, there's a little bit of taupata, a few other recovering coastal species recovering. They're just trying to get a hold in amongst all the tracks.
So what sort of challenges does it pose having this unfettered access?
Well, it's a very popular spot, and coastal areas with access for fishing, recreation and hunting are always going to be popular, but when it's not managed in a way, then you effectively get no management, and the coastal areas are so fragile. It's pretty much like running a bulldozer through some of these areas. Like the recovery rates for the slow growing areas, they're just not getting a chance to recover at all. So without any intervention or management, it's likely to get worse over time, and you can see that from the aerials. If you look back in aerials from 10 years time, the areas getting destroyed by access from driving is just getting incrementally worse and worse each year with no vegetation where the tracks are. So
what would you like to see here?
Well, ultimately when you look at the open areas, you just need to have clear areas of access for people. Oh. Need a film camera. Sorry, what was the last question?
Oh yeah, I was going to say, so what would you like to see?
Just looking at the site, I think there's obviously lots of people like using the area, and there's plenty of spaces where people can come and go fishing. There's plenty of spaces to come and shoot ducks. There's plenty of space out here, even if people want to come four-wheel driving. So what would be great to see is that at least the access is managed. If there's no other place that four-wheel drives can be, then at least it be designated to one site. It's currently being done all over the frontal dunes, and people are just going wherever they want. So it's just a matter of accessing the appropriate areas so that people can use it.
Is this a migratory spot? Is this a stopping off point at all?
Yeah, there's definitely there's a few banded dotterels. Definitely seen those. I've also seen had the white herons not nesting here, but I've got pictures of them around the lagoon itself. It's not quite as high value as the Ohiwa Harbour area or Miranda, but there's a smaller populations, of some of the migratory birds, but not quite to the same scale as some of the other areas. So it's more about the coastal birds than the big migratory godwits turning up.
Just turning back to the vehicles here, and we can just hear that one disappearing over the dunes. How are they faring?
Not so well. Once you've got small-scale vegetation or low dunes which are growing, then the recovery of those dunes isn't getting a chance to recover, and as the population increases along the coast, you just seem to get more and more vehicles turning up. But it's not even getting a chance to recover, really.
Is there nesting going on in the dunes?
Yeah, there's definitely birds nesting in the dunes. Most of it's happening back down towards where the fishing is as well. So when you start seeing banded dotterels around those sites in the same areas that people are driving in, fishing in, that's where the fish are, that's where the birds are, and that's just a high ecological area. So it's almost like everyone's competing for the same space, which makes sense. It's a beautiful spot. I don't think it's anything tricky or hard. It just needs someone to say, hey, look, here's where we want vehicles to go. We can create some space for four-wheel drives in a couple of areas, and we can get them to and from either way, and we can also provide some easy access for fishing. So nothing too radical there, just needs somebody to do something.
Ben Banks talking to me there at Ukurero Thornton Lagoon in the Eastern Bay of Plenty. The Department of Conservation administers the reserve alongside Fish and Game. DOC says vehicle access within the reserve causing damage to dunes or flora and fauna is prohibited and enforceable by DOC. In the past, they say they've tried to reduce off-roading damage by erecting fencing to block certain sections of the dunes from public access. However, fencing's been torn down by members of the public. They say anyone observing vehicles damaging dunes or disturbing wildlife in Ukurero should call 0800 DOC HOT. That's 0800 362 468 to report the incident in confidence.